Hello creative friends, this is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. So here's a couple elements that I found in my stash, a picture of this girl, and I wanted to do like a mermaid kind of scene. So I cut her out, just the top half, and now I'm figuring out how to draw a tail on her and a scene for her. And I've got these pictures of these like sharks and fish and everything that I'm also going to put in the water that's underneath her, that I thought would kind of make a neat effect, to have some some of these critters down in the water underneath her. So I'm deciding on the placement of everything, and once I get that figured out, I am going to paint the scenery with these metallic paints that I have. So I have a metallic copper and I have a metallic silver that I wanted to use to do a background on this image or on this page for these images. So I'm mixing the two of them together to get a color that I think will go well with the image that I selected for this mermaid that I wanted to create. And I'm using that to paint the sky, as you can see here, to give it a background. And it's a little bit difficult. I probably should have gessoed the page because, as you can see here, the page is kind of like buckling a little bit. But I mean, that doesn't really bother me too much. If it bothers, if it bothers you, or if you prefer the page to be gessoed, I mean, that's fine. I used to gesso every single page, journal page, before I did anything on it, but I've gotten to the point where it depends. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And here I wanted to add some white, like stripes and stuff across the sky to make it look like, that there's something going on in the sky instead of it just being plain. So here I have the images that of the fish and the sharks and stuff I wanted to put down on this page. And it probably would have been easier for me to paint the water before putting the images down, but for whatever reason, I decided to go ahead and put the images down with some collage page. So that's what I'm doing here. And once I get all the images down, of course, I dry it, and then I decide to paint the water. So I've got some blue paint here that's a dark blue, similar to the color of the of these pictures that I'm using just to paint around the pictures and around, the sky and the tail of the mermaid that I had sketched out. So once that dries, then I am adding a little bit of watered down black, just to kind of give the water a little bit of variation. And I'm overlapping the edges of the pictures so that they blend in more with the background or the water scene. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to add a little bit of kind of variation, and that shark there, you see it's got writing on it, so I'm covering that up, with some black paint on its belly so that you don't see the writing that's on the fish or underneath of the shark. So that's what I'm doing there. And this was a picture that I guess I've always kind of, thought and wanted to do a mermaid kind of scene, but never did get around to it. And so I thought this would be a good time to do this. And it's funny because, you think about, oh, I want to do a mermaid scene, and you have all these ideas in your head of how you're going to do it. And then when you actually get down to doing it, it's not at all like any of the ideas that you imagined in your head. Because this is definitely not something I even thought of or considered, but I just didn't, I guess, feel like going through the process of drawing out, the mermaid and the face and everything, and trying to figure all that out. Here I'm using a little bit of that sky paint just to kind of paint around over the edges just so it blends in more to the background. But, I just didn't feel like messing with it. So I happened to think, oh, well, maybe if I find a person in kind of a position that I think would work well, that would work. And it just so happened that this girl was kind of sitting on the edge of a stool, and I thought, oh, she could be sitting on a rock and, make, her tail off, in the water or whatever. And so here I'm painting the rock that she's sitting on, with a little brown, a little black, just to give it some variation and to make it, somewhat look like a rock. And I'm using that a credit card just to kind of hold the hand up from, getting into the paint. And then here I'm getting a little bit of white to go around the bottom of the rock, and then some more black to put a shadow underneath her tail and to put a shadow underneath the rock. So I'm just trying to get some highlights and some shadows in there in the water and around the rock itself. Continuing, I guess, to add more shadows and highlights to the water area till I'm happy with it. And here I have this gold paint, but then I have it's Martha Stewart product, and it's kind of like glitter, but it's like little spheres, circles or whatever, that I wanted to use on the tail of this mermaid. So I thought, well, it'd probably be better to paint the tail with the gold paint first. That way, if I don't get the glitter on there real, solidly, then, at least, it would have gold paint under it, and then you wouldn't really be able to tell if there was areas where the glitter or whatever those things are called didn't get on there as completely or as cover as much as I'd want it to. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just coloring the tail or painting the tail with some metallic gold paint that seem to go with the glitter that I'm going to use on the tail. But like I said, it's not really glitter. It's light glitter, but it's like little balls. And oh my gosh, I got like a set of different colors, and I don't know if they sell them anymore. I got it at a flea market sale, from someone. It was like partially used for like $2 or something. And here I'm painting it again because I just want to make sure I got a good coat of that gold underneath. But this is the first time I've used them, and they just rolled everywhere. I had those little spheres all over my desk. And I also went through my stash and found a title that I thought would go with this. I have it laying on there, but I don't think it might be glued down. Nope, I guess I didn't. Yeah, and decided to put this title down, and it says "The Wild is Calling." I thought that was appropriate with the mermaid and then the fish and the sharks and stuff in the water. So I kind of cut that out to put down on this page as a title or what have you. So then here, once the gold paint is dry, I just get some clear gel. School glue is all this is that I'm using, and a paintbrush, and I'm trying to, you know, cover the area that I want to put these spheres on with the glue and spreading it out with the paintbrush. And then here I'm sprinkling them on the glue, and they're rolling all over the place. So I'm trying to get them to roll back into the glue. So this wasn't the easiest thing to do because they were just rolling everywhere. Finally, I just said, oh, the heck with it, and just started, you know, dumping as much on there as I could get on there. But, you know, I was trying to get some of it to roll back into it, into where the glue was. So here I hadn't glued down her hands yet, but she was holding on to a purse or something like that. So I decided to make it look like she was holding on to a shell. So that's what I'm doing here. I have a shell sticker, and I cut her hand where she was holding on to whatever it was she was holding on to, and put the shell in her hand. So then here now I'm putting down her arms now that I've got the tail finished, and the glitter or whatever you want to call it on there. And I'm using the collage podge to put down the rest of the elements. Now I was having a little bit of a tough time getting that sticker to stay down with the collage podge, but I do eventually get it to where it stays. And at this point, I kind of was, you know, yeah, there I used some of that glue, the gel glue, try to get it to stay down. At this point, I was thinking I was done with the page, but then it just seemed like it needed a little more. So I came back with the gold paint because it didn't seem like the top half of her really matched the bottom half, and decided to, she's got like a shirt on, so I decided to, at first I was trying to use a gold pen to trace around it to see if that would help, and it didn't really seem like it helped a whole lot. So you'll see here in a minute I take the gold paint and try to paint her the top or that she has on with the gold paint, so at least she's somewhat matches or looks like she goes with her tail. And again, the light reflecting on the paint, it's hard to see, but it's kind of a see-through, and you can, like, really can't tell it here, but in to see it actually in person, you can see the shadows and stuff underneath the gold paint because it is kind of see-through. But here you can't really tell it that well. But that's pretty much the art journal page for today. I just added a few more details with the gold pen, with a headband, necklace, bracelet, earrings. So if you like this video, you can like, or you can subscribe to my channel to see more videos, or you can leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. I really enjoy sharing my art with people and hope that it inspires others to also try art journaling. So I hope you liked the video, and I will talk to you guys again later. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.